What if the ghost of Padme saved Darth Vader? That's our story for today. As always, I hope you guys enjoy. Leave your own ideas for what if stories in the comments down below, and maybe I'll get to them, so appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and let's get right into it. Our story begins on the Sith Temple of Malachor, or at least what now remains of the temple. Now it was destroyed rubble covering the ground, and buried deep inside of the rubble was Darth Vader. Vader just battled the former apprentice of Anakin Skywalker here, Ahsoka Tano. And Vader fought through rage, anger, hatred, suffering, every other emotion in order to defeat her. But as Vader lay buried under the destroyed temple, he saw now how far he has fallen. He was here, alone. No one was coming to save him. Sidious didn't care that he was suffering. He was just a tool for his master. The Empire didn't care for Vader. They feared him. Vader knew he couldn't go on like this any longer. His suit was heavily damaged. His ship was so far. So Vader decided to finally just let go, thinking maybe he should just die here today. But as Vader let everything go dark, he heard a voice in his head, reaching out to him. It sounded like Padme, and she said his name, Annie. And Vader let a memory come to him. His earliest memories of Padme. He was sitting on a counter of Watto's junk shop, staring at the most beautiful girl he could ever imagine. And the only thing Anakin could assume was that Padme was an angel. He remembered asking if she was an angel. Padme laughed, of course, but now Vader remembered asking that question, and he remembered hearing about the angels on the moons of Iego, and Vader's eyes opened up again under his mask. Why did the Force give him this memory? Why now? Why could he hear Padme? Vader knew about the moons of Iego. The species there were not angels, unless he was wrong. What if everyone in the galaxy is wrong, and truly there are angels residing there? Padme could be alive. So Vader would use his remaining strength, pushing the rubble off of him, stumbling heavily away to his ship, finally reaching it and taking off. Vader punched in the coordinates for the mystical moons, and he jumped to hyperspace without ever contacting the Empire. His hope was that he would just be assumed dead in the destruction of the temple, at least until he was done investigating this memory from the Force. And through the hyperspace trip, Vader didn't really know why he was doing this. It didn't really make sense. Anakin was dead, and with him, all of the memories were supposed to burn away. That's why he now assumed Kenobi was dead. That's why he had to fight Ahsoka. But the one thing that could always bring out Anakin was Padme, and when he was buried today, it was Padme that came to him. Eventually, Vader would emerge into the cluster of moons of Iego, and he would quickly think that it was a waste of time. They were all just regular moons, no true civilization, nothing except desolate rocks. Vader would spend a while flying through them, hoping for any sort of feeling in the Force, but he truly found nothing. Until again he heard Padme's voice calling out for him, and Vader turned to see that a new moon had appeared, as if it was waiting to reveal itself to the right person. Vader felt nervous and excited. For the first time in years, he felt real hope, and he turned his ship, flying into the white, mystical moon that seemed to be waiting here for him. As Vader entered the atmosphere, voices were coming from all around him in his head. Some he recognized, some he did not, but he landed his ship on a mountainside and quickly saw a translucent presence in the air. Vader called out for Padme, but the presences began increasing until Vader realized who it was. Mace Windu, Plo Koon, Kit Fisto, Shaak Ti, Jedi that died on that fateful night. More and more ghosts of Jedi appeared, and Vader ignited his lightsaber, saying they're all supposed to be dead. But then, a new voice behind Vader told him that no one's ever really gone. Vader knew who this was. He turned to see the ghost of his mother smiling down at him, and Vader was frozen in place. He stammered, asking what this was, what was going on, what is this place? And Shmi didn't provide an exact answer, but she said only this is where memories of everyone who has ever died go. But if a living person is allowed to come to this moon, then the ghosts from their memories will appear. Vader asked if any of them are real. Shmi smiled again, saying they are real to him, and that is what matters. Vader turned back to the Jedi. They were all gone. Shmi was gone as well. But now Padme was here, and Vader couldn't believe his eyes. Padme smiled gently, then asked what has happened to him. What happened to Anakin Skywalker? Vader said that Anakin could never live without her, so he killed Anakin and became someone else. Padme shook her head, saying that this was never the way. Padme told Vader that the darkness is what killed her. Vader killed her. This was something that, deep down, Vader always knew was the truth, but he could never acknowledge it to be true. But Padme saying it today forced Vader to confront this truth. He tried apologizing, but Padme said the only way to truly apologize is to bring Anakin back, send Vader away once and for all. And Anakin knew that this was the path that he must take, for his mother, for Padme. His life as a Sith brought him only pain, and today he had the answers to come back to where he needs to be. And Anakin asked Padme if he can just stay here, join her on this moon forever, but Padme said that his destiny is not yet complete. When it is, then Anakin will find her again. And suddenly, Anakin was thrown backwards. Everything seemed to disappear as an overwhelming light overtook everything, and in mere moments, Anakin was once again alone inside of his ship. He took a moment to just collect his thoughts, realize everything that he just saw was real. Then, he remembered what Padme said. In order to someday join her, he must fulfill his destiny. And Anakin knew what that meant. Destroy the Sith. But Anakin didn't exactly know how to kill Palpatine. 10,000 Jedi couldn't finally defeat him. So how would Anakin do it? And after a long time, he had an answer. For millions of years, Sith have killed each other. So Vader would just have to use the powers of the Sith to do it. Vader would return to his castle on Mustafar, landing inside of a hidden hangar that he built for himself in case he ever needed to stay hidden like today. Vader would go on to repair his suit inside of this castle, then go down into the depths of it, downloading every single piece of Sith research that he's ever collected over the years, whether it be from Palpatine or his own explorations. And within just a handful of hours, Vader was back in space, but this time with all of the information he would need, finding a way to bring down Palpatine. Vader considered his options, then remembered the temple where he fought Ahsoka. The Malachor temple contained a superweapon, powerful enough to destroy all life on the planet. And Vader wondered now if that was the only Sith temple with that kind of weapon built into it. So for hours upon hours, Vader would sift through data on every single known Sith temple, trying to determine if any of them could have a hidden superweapon. He was finding next to nothing, but one of them did catch his eye, a temple on the 4th moon of Yavin. This was a temple built long ago to worship the Sith, and it was said that this temple would be the source of destruction for the Jedi. Of course, this never happened, but Vader wondered now if perhaps this temple could harbor a weapon capable of such destruction. There was only one way to find out, so Vader jumped to hyperspace for Yavin 4. On Yavin 4, the former Sith temple still stood, only it was now fully occupied by the Rebellion. This was the main base for many rebel cells, and today, Mon Mothma, Hera Syndulla, and Captain Rex were among the rebel leaders that were here as alarms began to go off. An unidentified ship just emerged from hyperspace, and initial readings had the ship being from the Empire. Hera immediately ordered her squad into the air with a group of Y-Wings, and they took off towards this single modified Imperial fighter. Rex watched from the temple as Hera and her squad began firing. Vader entered the atmosphere and was extremely surprised to see that this temple was not abandoned. Instead, he was suddenly being chased down by rebel starfighters. Vader couldn't believe it, but he may have just stumbled upon the rebel base. He immediately took evasive maneuvers, deciding that perhaps the rebellion can aid him in this fight versus the Emperor, so he didn't fire back. The squad of 10 Y-Wings flew around Vader, and he spun underneath them, causing a few of them to spin out in the air. Vader flew with the Force, seeing things before they happened, and he was able to quickly shake off 9 of the fighters. But one of them hung strong, firing at Vader, hitting his fighter. Vader was impressed, and he pushed harder into evasive moves, changing speeds, spinning around, but he just couldn't shake Hera, the final Y-Wing. So instead, Vader sped towards the ground, landing, getting his ship close to the ground, and ejecting himself from it. The Y-Wing followed Vader's tie as he jumped over the Y-Wing, then landed safely on the ground with a strong thud. Now around 40 rebels came running at him, blasters firing. Vader ignited his saber, deflecting all of the shots away, but not back at the rebels. As they continued to get closer, Vader slammed his fist into the ground, and a wave of energy sent the rebels sprawling to the ground. Vader yelled out that he was not here to fight. He didn't even know the rebels were here. He said he was here to destroy the Emperor. The rebel fighters stood strong with their blasters aimed at Vader until Mon Mothma and Rex got to the front, asking Vader if this was true. And Vader would see Rex for the first time since the Clone War. Though Rex didn't know who he was, and so Vader removed the top of his helmet, then said yes, he is telling the truth. Rex gasped. He couldn't be sure this was really him, but he recognized him. Anakin Skywalker. Rex heard rumors of Vader, none of them good at all, but Vader was Anakin? And Anakin nodded to Rex, then said he just wishes to talk. He knows he has done things that he can never be forgiven for. The Emperor, the Empire, has all done things that can never be forgiven. But he told them that he just wants to help destroy the Emperor, and he will be gone forever once the Empire dies with him. And this was an opportunity the rebellion simply could not pass on, so Mon Mothma would allow it. If Vader was lying, and the Empire did know they were here, they were all probably screwed anyways. Vader and Mon Mothma would end up talking in a room alone, when Vader revealed his suspicions. The temple was built as a shrine to the Sith. It was built with intention to be one of the few temples that could be used as a superweapon. Vader suggested that this superweapon was still here, hidden and dormant. And so, with permission, he would like to search the temple for the entrance to this weapon. Mon Mothma was extremely hesitant, but she told Vader that she would allow this, though a group of rebels would be watching him at all times. Vader said this was acceptable, and he began searching through the temple. He went from room to room, door to door, looking for any signs, and eventually, Vader would find a part of the wall that was engraved differently than the rest. It had ancient Sith markings, and Vader would use the Force to push in the wall, revealing a set of stairs. The rebels with Vader were genuinely surprised, and Vader warned them now to stay back. Whatever was down here would not be friendly towards them. The rebels were fine with this, and so Vader made his way down the stairs. The secret door slammed shut behind him, and so Vader ignited his red blade, lighting up the area, as he reached the bottom of this hidden room, where a Sith holocron waited, protected by some sort of red Sith magic. And then Vader heard a voice, a deep hiss, asking who dares come here. Vader said that he wishes to access the superweapon, and a tomb emerged from the floor, opening up as an ancient Sith Lord was awoken. His eyes burned with a red glow, as he said that after death, he was tasked with protecting this place. Only those who were able to defeat him would be worthy of accessing this ancient weapon. And the Sith Lord, Naga Sadow, ignited two double-bladed lightsabers. Vader stood ready. This was a test he could pass. So with a determined roar, Vader would lunge forward, his saber swinging at the ancient Sith. Sadow met his moves with a gleeful swing of his own sabers, spinning his dual blades in a path that was hard for Vader to keep track of. The clash of their sabers echoed through the ancient chamber, the darkness only lit up by the red blades hitting against each other. With a swift move, Sadow flipped over Vader, throwing one saber through the air. It spun and hit Vader in the shoulder. And as Vader tried to recover, Sadow unleashed a torrent of lightning, sending Vader staggering backwards as he used the Force to redirect the lightning into the ceiling. It began to crumble, and Sadow avoided falling debris, running back at Vader, slamming both sabers down at him. But Vader was ready, spinning to cut away one of the sabers, and using his free hand to grab the other saber from Sadow, taking it into his own hand. Vader then sliced through the shoulder of Sadow, flipped backwards, and unleashed a huge Force push. Sadow crashed hard into the wall, screaming in anger. And now, Vader held one of Sadow's sabers, moving in, swinging at the ancient Sith Lord. Sadow ducked and dodged a few strikes, but Vader was able to slice through his back, using a Force choke now to hold the Sith in the air. Sadow began to die, then told Vader he is truly worthy of this power. And Vader stabbed him. The life faded from Sadow. The Sith magic around the holocron faded away. The protective spirit was gone. Vader walked to the holocron, twisted it around, and it was like a key that unlocked the secrets of this Sith temple. Above ground, the Great Temple began to shift, and everyone quickly evacuated as a giant laser cannon emerged from it. Vader did it. Now he just had to draw Sidious here. But that would be of little issue. Once Vader awakened the spirit, there was no way Sidious wouldn't feel it. The closest Imperial fleet would dispatch countless probe droids to all the nearby planets and moons where Sidious felt this presence from, and within hours, the droids had eyes on the Yavin rebel base. Sidious would send a giant fleet there, which he would be a part of. These rebels would die today at his hand. On Yavin, as Vader emerged from underground, he would see the weapon, and it blended well with the temple itself. For a while, Vader and Mon Mothma discussed how they would lure the Emperor here, but these talks would prove to be pointless, as suddenly, the huge Imperial fleet emerged from hyperspace, and Vader knew that Sidious was on board. So Vader told Mon Mothma to get everyone ready for evacuation. This superweapon would not be leaving anyone alive, but Vader knew that it would be targeting the largest ships first. The transports would be safe, so long as they can get to the atmosphere when he orders. Mon Mothma nodded, understanding this could be the death of the Emperor, and everyone was loaded onto the transports. Vader ran back down, underneath the temple, accessing the superweapon, using the Force to control the holocron into charging up. Vader poured any remnant of his Sith powers into it, and the holocron soon became heavily unstable. The superweapon was ready, and no one would be stopping it. Vader called up to Mon Mothma, telling her to get everyone out of here immediately. Don't look back. And so she did. The 5 rebel transports put all of their power into the shields, flying up at the Imperial fleet. The fleet began firing down at the transports as Sidious ordered. This was a delusional strategy, he thought. They would be obliterated by the Star Destroyers. But Sidious then saw something deep down on the planet. A red light began to emerge on the temple, and Sidious realized what was happening. He yelled at the captain to take evasive maneuvers, but a second later, the super laser blasted right into his Star Destroyer. The weapon targeted the largest ships first, allowing the rebels to jump to hyperspace before the weapon hit them. And the super weapon was like chain lightning, redirecting from Sidious's ship to the other 10 Imperial Star Destroyers, ripping them to shreds, along with everyone inside. Sidious survived the initial blast, but was severely burned and injured as his Star Destroyer crashed into the temple, exploding with him inside, as every other Star Destroyer crashed the same. Inside the temple, Vader died as the laser crashed into Sidious's ship. The laser obliterated Vader, and only parts of his mask remained etched into the ground. The Emperor was dead, Vader was dead, and the rebellion was only growing. So over the next few years, the Empire would become a power struggle, with many of the leaders vying for power, and the once cohesive unit aided the rebels in its own destruction. Luke and Leia Skywalker would play key roles, politically and in the final battles, helped by Obi-Wan Kenobi. The rebellion would rise, and a new Jedi Order would rise again with it. As for Anakin, the Force was a mystery to everyone, but as he died, his spirit would travel back to the moons of Iego, and he became a spirit with Padme and his mother. No one knew if any of it was real, even he didn't know if it was real, but he embraced it, living on through the Force, watching over his children with Padme for as long as they lived. And folks, that is our story for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I really made some stuff up here. I had fun with it. It was, a story that I came up with watching The Phantom Menace in theaters last night, when Anakin says to Padme, "Are you an angel from the moons of Iego?" I was like, whoa, what if that was true and there really were angels from those moons in Star Wars? It's not canon, it's just like some translucent species basically. But I thought, hey, let's make it a little bit like Mortis. Anakin goes there and just boom, out of nowhere, new moon with Padme as a ghost, Shmi as a ghost, everyone else as a ghost. I was like, hey, this could be fun. Let's try it out. And then from there, we make up some other stuff like the Yavin temple having a super weapon. I don't think it does, but I thought, hey, it's a what if story. Let's make it have a super weapon. And in order to access it, Vader has to defeat an ancient Sith spirit. Yeah, that was fun. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it's not to a T canon, but I decided with this story to just really experiment and see, how it goes, because all these stories can't be canon all the time, because they're not canon. So, wanted to see what happened with this. Let me know what you guys thought of that. And then, the weapon just ripping Sidious's entire fleet apart, kind of like how he does it in The Rise of Skywalker. Kind of wanted to mirror that a bit. Yeah, so Luke and Leia go on to just live their lives peacefully, and then Anakin goes on to become an angel, a spirit with Padme and his mother, living on through the Force. maybe eventually he just becomes a Force ghost, but for now, he's peaceful with Padme, and yeah, I thought that was fun. So, appreciate you guys watching. Did you see Phantom Menace in theaters? For me, it was like seeing it again for the first time. Magical experience. I loved it, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.